Hey everybody, tonight I have an Athearn GP7 Norfolk and Western locomotive that, if you recognize it from a prior video I picked up at a train show for $8, that said it didn't run real well. Now you can see here it does pick up the power really well, and it does seem to run halfway decent, but it is a little noisy, and I'm hoping that the service we do on it this evening is going to quieten it down some. You can get a decent overview of what it looks like. These are pretty straightforward. You can see here you just kind of twist your screwdriver to the side and you can pop those shells off real easy. The metal frames have the little tabs on the sides so that they're easy to pop off. I rolled the drive line a little bit. I wanted to see what the motor was doing. I wanted to look at the commutator, make sure that it looked okay, making sure everything looks tight. And you can see where I was able to get the screwdriver in and pop the truck cover off so you could expose the gears. This particular locomotive, for some reason, I think it's just because of its age, the truck kind of wanted to come apart on me while I was trying to get the grease into the gearbox. I use a dielectric grease. If you want to pause it there, you can see exactly what I'm using, but it's called Super Lube. We go ahead and put the grease in the first box and then snap the cover back in place, and you have to make sure that you hold the side trucks together. If you don't hold them together and hold everything nice and square, the cover won't pop on. And as you see here, it gave me a little bit of trouble, but I did end up getting it. On the top, it's got two little tabs on either end of the truck that hold the cover, and like I explained, if you don't get everything perfectly lined up, it does not want to snap back together. And in the process of doing this, I ended up knocking the coupler mount loose in the front, and it fell off. So we'll end up having to put that back on at the end. But now that I got that one back together, I flipped it over, and we're going to pop the other one loose. And that one came a little easier. Made sure everything was nice and square, went ahead and added some grease to it. It doesn't take much. You can add as much or as little as you want, but I suggest you add a little amount more often than a ton and make a mess. Now that the trucks are greased, we're going to, I put a little bit of grease where the top of the truck sits and pivots on the frame, just so that the trucks would turn a little better, and it would navigate corners a little better. And then since I did that, I wanted to make sure that the connections were all still working like they were supposed to, and they are. I went ahead and took some rubbing alcohol and put it on a Q-tip for the next thing we do. And where the commutator is, and you're going to see me put my Q-tip on it, I turn the engine on to where it sits and runs and spins, and the motor turns over. And I take my Q-tip and I rub that commutator, and you can see the garbage that comes off of it, all the soot and stuff. And then if you look here where I'm oiling, there's a bearing on both sides of the motor. It's going rather fast, but you can see, if you pause it, you can see the bearings on either side of the motor. Let the oil kind of run down in there. A drop is all you need. And you can see here that I'm going ahead and running it again to make sure I didn't get any oil in the motor itself, because that will cause all kinds of problems. That's why I said just one little drop is all you need. We're going to go ahead and reinstall the truck, or not the truck, the coupler. And that's kind of a pain for me because my hands are so big. I went ahead and used a pair of needle nose pliers to slip the cover back on while I held the coupler still. And then I was able to push it down with my finger to pop it in place, and the coupler went right back into place. I'm going to double check it and make sure that that little air hose that's on the bottom of the coupler doesn't drag in the track, and it doesn't. And the next thing I went ahead and did, since I haven't done it in a while, I went ahead and wiped down my test track to make sure that it was plenty clean, so I was getting an accurate description of what the engine was doing. And it wasn't a pickup problem from the locomotive. I went ahead and used that same paper towel, and I turned the engine on, and was able to let the wheels spin on the paper towel with the alcohol and clean the wheels. After that, I went ahead and took the shell to the sink and ran some water on it and took Q-tips, and I run it down the walkways around the locomotive to kind of wipe the dirt and dust out. It always seems that contact is the better choice with water, because when the water ends up drying, it doesn't always get all the dust and that off, and you end up with like splotches all over the body. So I went ahead and wiped it down real good and then re-washed it off again, and we're going to dry it off, and this is kind of the finished result here. It does have a couple spots where I need to dab some paint on it, but I do like the look of it being a little bit beat up, maybe kind of a weathered look, or the paint's kind of fading kind of thing. I do like the way that looks. And you can see here as I line it up, it only goes on one way, and it pops right into place. And now we're going to run it. We're going to see how it does. I've got 6 well cars with shipping containers in them, and it makes it for a rather heavy load for that locomotive, but it didn't complain at all and took right off. It didn't even have any wheel spin, which is something that surprises me. These locomotives don't have any flywheel weights on them like the newer Athearns do, and it runs really well, nice and smooth. It didn't really glitch or anything when it went to take off, and you can see just how well it's pulling. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video or it helped you out at all, if you would hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. And if you have any questions or comments, add them below. I like reading them and seeing what you guys think. See you guys in the next one.